Welcome, everyone.
Yeah.
We'll just let everyone get in and get settled.
You're right.
Okay. My name is Mary Coe. I am the branch reference librarian. I am really happy to be bringing this program to you all with one of my favorite coworkers, Joey Ortega. We'll ask everybody initially to have mics muted just for the initial part of the conversation. We will take questions at the end, but if you want to, feel free to put a question into the chat box and we'll be monitoring that as well. So our presenter tonight is Joey Ortega, who has been an employee at the Fairfield Woods Branch Library for 31 years. Joey and I think, are not only the longest term employees with the library, but one of the, I think a couple of the longest for the town now, not to give our like ages away or anything, but so, and over the years, Joey and I have had lots of really interesting conversations about his metal detecting. And I love hearing those stories. And Nancy Sweeney and I were talking and thought, gee, wouldn't it be wonderful if we could get Joey to do a program on that, because we know it's such a love of his and he talks about it so engagingly. And he said yes. So this is the first time, right, Joe, that you've had a kind of a semi-formal presentation on it. So Joey's been water hunting since about 2001. And we know he's a part of a lot of the metal detecting circles on social media, lots of forums and things like that over the years, and spends a lot of time on the beaches of Connecticut doing his thing and doing metal detecting. So Joe, welcome and thank you so much for doing this with us. And do you want to start by telling everyone your story about how you got into metal detecting in the first place? Like, what was it about it that made you say, hey, I want to do this?
Certainly. About this time 20 years ago, I just happened to be watching television and a metal detector commercial came out. It just grabbed my attention right away. While I was watching this 1 minute commercial, it brought me back when I was back in the early 70s, when I was 11, 12 years old. And my brother used to bring home Popular Science. Remember those? So anyway, in the back of that magazine, they always had like metal detectors. And I always kind of fantasized, wow, how cool that was. And I also read back then, Reader's Digest magazine, how they talked about Oak Island. I think that's in Canada. It's in Halifax area. And I was just fascinated by that. And so I was thinking about this during that commercial. And so lo and behold, soon after that, I brought my first metal detector. And like everybody else, you're like a kid in the candy store. Just seek some, treasure, whatever that is. And so I spent the first 2 years digging local parks. Of course, you have to check with the city or towns. It's allowed. Some places not. But anyway, for the next 2 years, I'm digging everything possibly I could dig, and making some pretty cool finds, old coins that you just don't see anymore, silver coins, Wobber dimes, Mercury dimes, Walking Liberty quarters. Yeah, I think they stopped making that in the 1940s. And they have like 92, 94% silver. So it's worth more than the value itself. And so anyway, so that's what I pretty much, and I also been, I went around knocking down homeowners' door. And could tell you so many stories. I'll tell you one for one particular guy. Look, when I told him what I wanted to do, metal detect his backyard. The house is built with like 1880. So, you know, who knows what's back there in his yard. And so he looked at me like, you know, I was crazy. But then he kind of like stood there looking at me. I thought he was going to just tell me, get out of here. And he said, geez, that's pretty interesting. I have the clueless idea what's back there. So I told him that whatever I find of value, I will give him 50%. And he agreed with that. But he was also concerned about me leaving holes behind.
Oh, right.
You know, I'm tearing up his grass.
Yeah.
And so I kind of explained to him the type of technique we use, cutting a plug, like a U shape, and you fold the grass back, and you retrieve what you retrieve, you put it back. It's like no one was ever there. So I went ahead and did that, and I did find some cool finds. So fast forward to 2004, I had just started metal detecting forums. Back then, this was before Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and all that stuff. And so I never joined, but I happened to look into it, and I started learning more and more and more. And then something caught my eyes. The metal detecting forum, inside that forum, there's sub forums. And I'll give you an example. They'll have like a coin section, finding coins in dirt. They'll have a beach section where you're hunting on the beach. And so the beach caught my eye. I was like, wow, digging in the dirt is a lot of work. Okay, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of physical work. And so when I saw the beach, I said, wow, that looks a little more easier because dirt is compact compared to sand. Sand is more loose. So anyway, so as I'm looking at all these finds these guys are doing, watching people posting finds that day, I said, yeah, let me give it a try. So in 2004, I started hitting the dry sands, local beaches, everywhere you think of. And it was pretty fun, easy, go right to it. And then as I continued doing that, I noticed guys hunting in the water. I was like, okay, I could probably get in there. But then I find, reading more into it, I see that you need a different machine, a waterproof machine. And so I went ahead and bought that. So the two type of machines out there in general are very, the one you see in the park, okay, those are considered, they are called very low frequencies. Okay, for short, we call it VLF. Okay, the type of machine that use in the water, they are called post-induction. For short is PI. And so I went out and got me a PI machine. And the difference with those two is basically the VLF machines, they could run on a single frequency, dual frequency, or multi-frequency. In other words, it could push out one frequency into the ground, it bounces back, it hits something metallic, and it'll bounce back to the coil and send a signal to your headphone, telling you, there's something there. The 2 frequencies and 3 frequencies is giving you more option with more depth, going deeper. And so that's what the VLF does. The VLF could be used on a dry sand with no interference. When you bring that VLF into the salt water, wet sand water, it sees one complete metal plate. And what it does, it just buzzes and drives you nuts. And you're not going to hear any targets at all. And that's a disadvantage of a VLF in the salt water. This is where the PI comes in. The PI machine does not discriminate. Where the VLF has a discriminate, you could remove certain metallic. Oh wow. Okay.
That's okay. Go ahead.
The VLF could remove certain using a discrimination on VLF machine. You can remove certain metallic items that you want to remove, which I'm gonna show. I'll show that with the demonstration of the equipment, which I'm not going to use here because I can't do it, but I'm going to show pictures. Just to,
yeah.
But the PI machine does not discriminate at all. It does not. It sees everything on the ground. This is the type of machine you do not use where it's heavily trash, like a park, or even in the dry sand where there's so much metallic stuff, pull tab, aluminum foil, all kinds of stuff. It would just drive you crazy. Mm-hmm. So this particular machine is to be used with less trash, which I use in the wet sand or in the water. Mm-hmm. The frequency that the post-induction, the PI punches, is deeper than the VLF. And it could punch up to 18 inches with no problem. And so once I purchased the PI machine, I was in it's a whole different animal than your VLF machine. Mm-hmm. And so I was hooked completely. And I was just a maniac that whole year, to the point my wife had to bring me back to earth. And so that first year I found 35 gold rings. Wow. And this was it's hard work. You're in the water. Mm-hmm. You're wearing waterproof waders. In the wintertime, you're you have to wear layers of clothes, and because the water temperature could be 35, 40 degrees, your temperature could be 30. Mm, yeah. So, I mean, I'll stay out there like an hour and a half. I have to come out, warm up a little, go back in, and so the PI machine, I'm allowed to go in the water with, because it does not. I'm not an engineer in this, so the best way I could explain it, the frequency that these PI machine punches out does not see the salt water. Remember I was telling you about the VLF? Yeah. The VLF, when you bring it into salt water, it just beeps all over the place. Right. And so this machine does not see the salt water. There's a lot of if you go to a beach, you see like a black sand. Anybody ever go to there? You see like a black sand. Mm-hmm. You see like a black. It's like a shiny. Yeah. Metallic. So
it would pick that. It doesn't pick that up.
Right. Right. In fact, it excels in that.
Okay.
It loves that type of mineralization ground, and so this is why I use this particular machine in the water, and most of my friends do too, because we have an advantage. We don't have to worry about it. We could control. There's a lot of control that you could stabilize the machine to the point where you're pushing and stuff like that. But so those are the two different machines that's out there right now. So what I would like to do, pull up a picture of one of the VLF machines and give the folks an idea.
That'd be great. So it's interesting to hear the differences between, you started out doing it on dry land, and then for various reasons you switched over to the water, but you could kind of see like the attraction of both. I mean, certainly when you're doing it on land, you don't have to worry about protecting yourself against the water, cold temperatures and things like that. But it sounds like the machinery, it gives you a little bit more opportunity to go deeper with more accuracy.
Exactly, and there's so many different types of machine for different applications. Right. And like I said, VLF machine is pretty diverse. I mean, you actually use them in the dirt environment. and you bring it to the dry stand. You can, in fact, in fresh water, you could take a VLF machine and bring it into the water, and it doesn't have the salt content like salt water.
Mm-hmm.
So it's gonna react as if it was on dry land.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
and so that's the advantage of that.
Yeah.
And you also have another metal detector is for prospecting. You know, prospecting for gold.
For gold.
For gold nuggets, little tiny gold nuggets.
Mm-hmm.
These are specialized metal detectors that the frequency is so high, it's way up there. I mean, it's so high that it's hard to use, say, in the salt water because the frequency is so high, and it's tough to adjust. Although you probably can. I know people have done it, but you have to have patience.
Yeah. Well, why don't you go ahead? I know you have some pictures that you wanted to show everybody. So Joe's going to screen share. And
let me go here. Okay, can you see that?
Yep, that's great.
Okay, so this particular machine belongs to my wife, Audrey. Now, Audrey is a seasonal metal detectorist. She loves hunting the dry sand during the summer months. And so this is her detector, and it's a simple one, so it'll be more simple to describe what it is that you're looking at. And so, can you see my pointer?
Yep.
Okay. So the two main things in the metal detectors will be your discrimination, which will be right here, and your sensitivity. So the discrimination here allows you to set up your machine to where what it is that you want to focus on as far as different targets. And so if you look here, I set my wife's up at custom. And by the way, let me just real quickly, you see all this all metal jewelry, custom relics and coins?
Yes.
Those are preset by the manufacturer to make it easier for you. You just want to just switch over. And what that does is, I'll give you an example, coins. This right here will disappear. Like, you can't see it here. There should be one here for iron, but it's gone. We don't want iron. We're on the beach. We're trying to get anything with gold all the way up to dollar coins. And so they preset everything for your convenience, but they also have a custom. You can custom the way setting. So that's what I did to my wife here. So anyway, so when you go over a target, there's another right here. It will. I'm trying to find out what the heck is this tab. I don't know. It will show up. It will tell you what the target might be. So here, what you see here is a bottle cap. The word foil. Okay. Okay. Nickel, pull tab, as you can see, it goes so on, so on. Now, gold will fall into this area right here. Okay, you see this. Oh, gold rings, earrings will fall into that area. The lighter, the skinnier the gold is, the less it's going to show. An example, this right here will say you got a little small earring. It will show right here somewhere. I'm just saying, somewhere in that area. If you a nickel, you find a nickel, it will hit right there. Bottle caps will hit here. The same thing with the pull tab. Okay, will hit here. So the advantage in this, the disadvantage of all this here will be, unfortunately, you have to dig up, we call it junk targets, bottle caps, to find the gold. The gold will fall in this area, as you can see. Okay. Now, pennies, dimes, quarters, half dollars, will all fall into this area. And the reason why they're going to fall into it is a higher conductive. Copper is, the conductive of copper is high. Silver is very high. And so if I find a penny, it's going to fall around here. With that said, if I find a big fat gold ring, it's going to move out of this chart area. It's going to fall into here.
Into the coin, the higher coins.
Because of the thickness, the mass, and the weight of the gold. Okay, will fall in there. But, so, a dime will fall in here, quarter, modern day clad coins will fall in there. Also will fall in there is silver coins. A silver dime, quarter, half dollar, and dollars. Okay. Okay. This particular machine I know pretty well is right on. When it goes over a quarter, boom, it's telling you, it lights up right here. It's telling you it's a quarter.
So it's pretty accurate when you
well,
that much
yes.
line.
No metal detector is that accurate, and the reason why I say that, the closer to the surface it is, the more accurate it is. The more deeper it is not as accurate. Once you start to dig and removing sand or even the dirt, you swing your coil, the search coil is at the bottom of the metal detector. Once you go over it, now it starts, when you do that first dig or second dig, depending how deep it is, it will give you a better accuracy as far as what you have there, more or less. It could be a quarter that was very deep, but it could be 50 half dollar coin or $50 silver. So again, it just giving you an idea. Here is the depth. This is telling you maybe it's 2 inches, 4 inches, 6 inches, 8 inches. Okay. Okay. So this discrimination, that's what it does. I could discriminate iron. I don't want to deal with no iron. I just want to go from foil bottle cap all the way up to here. Okay. Discrimination, as you can see right here, is two bars away from max. The highest reading on sensitivity. Sensitivity basically is making you go deeper. Okay, you're able to go very deep with your metal detector. The higher the sensitivity. Sometimes, and I don't want to throw too much because this is like a basic 101. I don't want to overwhelm people, but sometimes, depending on your location, telephone poles nearby, you might get interference.
Oh, okay.
Okay, because the sensitivity is pretty high. So sometimes you have to back it off.
So and when you're not picking up other, and you said this isn't
interference.
It's an older machine too, right? This one?
Yeah, it's a 14-year-old machine. Okay. I bought it from Audrey like 14 years ago, and it's still going.
It's still working, but even with that, it picks up on the
even
frequencies. We can see that they don't have pull tabs anymore. So right, so they have that pull tab on there. It's like you got to get her a new machine, Joe.
She's quite happy with it.
Yeah, I know. I'm just.
But even today's more modern technology metal detectors, it has processors in it. You could actually has a USB where you could actually update the software that's built inside. Has built-in lithium battery where you have to buy batteries and put them in. And so even those modern, more up-to-date metal detectors still get interference.
Yeah, sure.
And so what that happens is this particular machine, unlike others, more advanced ones, they have certain settings for that particular. We can switch frequencies. And again, that's a whole nother thing. It's more in this stuff that you get to know right now. But with something like this, interference, you have to back off, lower the sensitivity. And unfortunately, by lowering sensitivity, you're losing depth. Because at the end of the day, when you metal detect, people want to punch deep.
Yeah.
The deeper the target, the older it is.
Mm.
And that's what people get excited about.
Yeah.
So that's that right there. I'm gonna go ahead and go to
You've got another machine you're going to show us, right? Is this one of?
Sorry, my boo-boo. Hold on, I'll get there.
Okay.
Okay, all right, yeah. Now this one here, you see that?
Yeah.
Okay, this one is this one's probably about, I think it's like 5-6 years old. This one again, same concept, it's just more modern, just a little bit more modern. And you can see when I see, you can see right here, the previous detector I just showed you, the settings is from here, all this here. This is what I want to find, whatever falls in that range. Here, I don't want that in the beach. Guys who metal detect are looking for relics, iron, stuff from the colonial days. You have to add this to it to find it. If I take away this, when my coil goes over an iron, it's not going to register with a beat, or it's not going to register because I discriminated it off. Okay. And so now if you look at all these buttons, you're like, oh, okay, well, we know this is the power button, right? This is such a universal on-off button here. But everything else is pretty much discrimination, option. When you hit the button, it takes you to different programs. This particular machine is more complex, but is user friendly. And so if somebody were to buy something like this was starting off, I believe this was like a $600, $700, $800 machine. The first one I just showed you was a $200 machine, and that was 14 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay. So this one's.
Yeah, it seems like this one might be a little bit, I don't know, I mean, a little easier to read, kind of, or?
Well, yes, you know why? You see the top? This one has a light. I could turn on and off. And so you can see it more, especially you want to hunt during the evening and nighttime. You can see the screen in front of you. Otherwise, you will have to wear like a headlamp to see what you're doing. And so I just wanted to show this here. Again, it's the same concept, like in the depth. If you go over a target, underneath here, you'll see bars. Each bar represents like 2 inches. If you see like 4 bars, that would be 8 inches. That would be like here. And so so on and so forth. The sensitivity, again, just like the first one, you see it right here. Okay, as you increase it, it goes up. Now this machine is my particular machine. I don't use it as much. But you could tell from the last time I used it, I tried to push I could do that. I tried all my machines. I push it to the max. I push it to it can't go nowhere else because at the end of the day, I want to find deep targets. That's what people do. People want to find deep targets. And so we see where it says track. Okay. All metal detector has a ground balance. And what that is the search coil is going to recognize the type of soil is hovering over. It analyzes it and it adjusts it to the processor. And that's important because if it doesn't do that, you have to ground balance it manually. That's another process. And you're going to get a lot of false readings. In other words, it's telling you something there when it might not be. It might be false. And when I'm using the word falsing, is targets that are not there. Okay. And so this particular machine has an automatic ground balancing. It does it itself, which is great.
Oh, that's
okay. So anyway, but again, what you see here, once you hit option, now you get into all kinds of different programs that you could manipulate, understanding your machine. And so, with all metal detector, it comes with a owner's manual. That owner's manual is like your Bible. You have to understand what the machine is telling you, because the more hours you put in, the more you're going to understand what the machine is telling you. And so now you become one, and you become a beast with this machine.
Yeah.
And,
that's what it seems like. It's kind of you're learning the language of the machine,
yes.
and then you're also balancing what, with experience. I'm sure it comes what it is
yes.
that you're looking for,
Mm-hmm.
and knowing the sensitivity that you need to put it at, to go as deep as you want to go. So I can see where you kind of have this relationship with the machine,
yes.
working together, really.
Yes, and there's so much factors, and I don't know, I might have some guys here who metal detect and could relate to what I'm saying. There's so much factor that goes into understanding your machine, because it just doesn't beep. Okay, sometimes it gets like I'm trying to say this, like a growl sometimes. Or it'll give you like a little, like a threshold sound. If you hear like a shh, okay, in between that sound you might hear like a little break. Okay, when you hear that break, that's telling you something's darn deep. You have to investigate, and that's where you have to dig to get that target. As you dig, take away the soil, it starts to pronounce itself more, and you start to understand, I think I know what it might be. But again, this is just, metal detectors in general, all metal detector, VLF and PI's machines, they give you an idea. Something's there. You have to investigate. And the old saying in the metal detector world is, when in doubt, dig it. You got to dig it.
Dig it out.
Right. And I tell everybody who starts off metal detecting, the owner's manual always try to get people to do a preset setup. Okay, a preset setup just to get you going. As you put several hours into it, you start to increase certain settings, and basically what it's doing is guiding you to a better performing machine. I could tell you, and I'm sure I can't see everybody here, there's people here that metal detect. I could tell you from my own experience, I've seen people do some incredible find with a $200 machine, knowing that I just saw somebody go over that same spot with a $1,500 machine. And the reason why is because the person behind the machine took time to understand what the machine is doing and what is it telling them. Okay, so I seen it over and over, and I just cringed. I'm like, but that's what that is. I want to show you this one here. You see that?
Yep.
Okay, this is my lab. This is what can I say about my lab? I'm sure that anybody knows they know this is the real deal. This guy right here. This is an Equinox 600. There's two models in the Equinox. They got an 800 and the 600. The 800, I think, is probably $900 now. Wow. This one's about $700. And so again, it looks intimidating. You're like, what the heck is all this? Noise cancellation, ground balancing, volume, threshold level, all these stuff you could control. You can see my settings. You see what my setting is. I don't care for the iron. This is I put in the dry sand or in the wet sand. My PI machine goes in water, and as you see my settings, this will fall into that. Remember the foil, the bottle cap?
Right. Pull tabs.
Right. It starts from here, and it works its way up, And so this is what I'm looking for. And you can see the setting I'm in. You see, it's like a beach.
Yep.
In that, there's a beach 1 and beach 2. In this particular one, beach 1 is for dry sand, wet sand. If I bring it in the water, I'll put it in beach 2 because that's going to help stabilize the faucing. Again, this is more complex, and so I don't want to really get too much into that, but you can see where you can turn it on. You have the light switch here, and it is wireless. I could go Bluetooth without the headphone with the wires, which could be you could get in your way sometime. And so there's a massive of features in this, and this is probably the hottest, most sought after metal detector, the 600 and 800, in the past 3 years. I believe that's when they came out, 2018. I mean, they just sweeping the world with this metal detector. It's such an incredible machine. It's very deep. It boggles your mind.
Yeah.
And so that's that with that. And so I want to go back. Let me switch out of here real quick because I want to show. Okay. So did you see that?
Yep.
Okay. So this is my pride and joy. This is the PI machine that I use. It's a complete different. It has, you can't see it from here, but down at the bottom here is there's like three knobs I could control. Post delay, all kinds of stuff. Again, I don't want to get too much into it because anybody who starts metal detecting, I'd rather them start using a VLF. Go to your local park. You want to go to the dry sand beach. That's fine. That's where you should start. But as time go on, you want to graduate. You want to go in the wet sand and water. Then you got to consider buying a post-induction machine. Let me back up real quickly. The last one I just showed you, the Equinox, okay? This machine is so incredible that unlike other VLF machines, you could actually bring this machine into the wet sand and water because it does not see the salt, the black sand. It's an amazing machine. This is why people it's one of the most sought after. And so, but it's not deeper than the PI machine. Because at the end of the day, like I said, it's all about depth, getting the maximum push. Now, right next to my pride and joy, by the way, this is from Weiss Electronics. It's called the dual field PI machine. Right next to it, you see scoops. These are scoops. This is what I use, which I'll be showing the video, and you will see me in action, actually using it. These scoops here is made of stainless steel, and this is what I use when I'm up to my chest in the water.
You go that deep? You're up to your chest?
Oh yes. Actually, in the summertime, I have a wetsuit. I could be up to my almost near my neck.
Wow.
And I cannot see what the heck is going on down there. I'm only going by sound. And there's certain techniques to how to retrieve that when I'm that high up in the water. But again, that's just another, there's so much to this, that, I'd rather see people just start from the beginning and work their way up. But these scoops here, these are over $200 each. Okay, and they're stainless steel. You can see the holes in them. And what you do when you punch down with your foot, right behind here, there's a foot plate, and you push down, and you retrieve the sand, whatever target might be there. You bring it up, and you sift it on top of the water to get rid of the sand. And if the target's there, it's going to stay in there, and that's how you retrieve whatever it may be, precious metal, coins, whatever. And so, of course, it has a handle you can use. All right. This particular one is my go-to when I'm in the water. This one could be wet sand, more or less. This is what I use for the wet sand. So, but this machine is waterproof up to 200 feet. Divers use it up to 200 feet. So, but anyway, I just wanted to show this particular machine. This is my go-to machine. So, yeah.
Great.
So.
Great.
Okay.
So there's a lot of options there.
Yeah. Now, okay, go ahead.
Well, I was going to, every time you've mentioned this term a lot, and I know that you have PI as part of your official, your nickname. How did you get that? Is it from the machine, or how did that come about?
Yes, it has something to do with the machine. In 2005, at this point, I was metal detecting with local guys that, if you think, listen, these guys are like veterans. I was the greenhorn, more or less. Okay. I'm just a big sponge absorbing everything that they tell me and see what they're doing. One particular day, mind you, I didn't have this particular machine I just showed you. I had another post-induction machine that was pretty darn deep at that time, back in 2004, 2005. And so Audrey and I were having supper, and the TV is from the distance. And I believe, 2005, there was a commercial, a trailer for G.I. Joe.
Mm-hmm.
G.I. Joe. It was a motion picture, okay? And Audrey says, wow, why don't they call you P.I. Joe? Because she knew the machine that I use, the type of machine.
Yep.
I looked at her and I said, wow. Now, the reason why she said that is because I was in the metal detecting forum, and I started off with my name, Joey, basically, Joey. And so everybody had different usernames people could identify. And so I decided, you know what, let me change my name. So I went to 4 different metal detecting forums and changed my name quickly, because once you get that name on those forums, nobody else could use it.
Can use them.
Right.
Like
so
your
now,
handle.
yes, exactly. And so that's how that became. And so it stuck with me. And over the years, people identified me as P.I. Joe, along with my YouTube videos.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, and I know they have a lot of really good interaction in those forums, and it's a strong community.
And that was back in 2005. That was probably the only social media you could actually go out and show your finds, interact, learn, from veterans out there from around the world. And I met people from all over the world. It was just incredible.
Speaking of finds, I know there have been instances where either because they saw you actually doing the metal detecting, or they knew of you. You've helped people find some things that they've lost in the moment. And do you have a story that you want to share about that?
Oh my gosh, I just don't keep track of who I helped, how many people, but I've helped a lot of people. There were many times where I happened to be on the beach, and I actually had people in the panic mode who lost something precious to them. It doesn't, when I say precious, it's something that has sentimental value, like a wedding band. A wedding band has a story behind it. It's a personal story of somebody that, with their spouse. And so there are times where somebody lost a wedding band, and doing what I'm doing over time, you start to think out of the box, which I'll get into it towards the end, thinking out of the box. But when they tell you, yeah, I lost it here, I have to say to myself, okay, they're pretty sure they lost in this area, but I have to spread my wings and kind of just grid, that area so I could find it. And oh my goodness, unfortunately, there are a lot of times I just couldn't retrieve for whatever reason.
Yeah.
But the times that I did, I thought they're gonna squeeze me and pop my eyes out. I mean, they're thrilled by it, and a lot of times they offer me money. I said, no, 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 no. Because for me personally, I just want to leave a lasting effect.
Yeah.
Because people, when they see, and maybe at one point in your life you saw this on the beach, people meditating, they're like, what is he looking for?
Mhm.
Is he poor? Is he trying to find money so he could, there's that stigma on it. And so, but, for a lot of people that I know, most of them, they do it for the love of the hobby.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I found, oh my goodness, I have returned rings with initials. My first 2 or 3 years, I would spend $15, $20, put it in the local paper.
Mm-hmm.
Being careful my wordings on the paper because I just don't want to give it away. Oh yeah, there's a HRV initial on it. No, I will tell them that it was lost in a local park. And they have to describe it to me. Unfortunately, I would say like 10% response to them, along with other rings. One particular story really sticks out to me was, this is years back. I just got home from work, and Fairfield, they had my name and number. And I knew the guy I can't remember his name. He was in charge of the lot. He was pretty much in charge of the pavilion. And he was in charge of the lunch bar and stuff like that. And we had
That's Penfield. For those of you not, it's Penfield Pavilion down at the beach here in Fairfield.
Yeah. Right. And we had a very good relationship. I knew him over the years. He saw what I did, and we had an understanding. If somebody lost something, just give me a call. So anyway, about half hour after I got home, I got a call. This lady was very upset. She was crying. She lost a sentimental watch that was given to her. And I told him, I said, have her stay right there. I'll be there within a half hour. And I did. And I got there. I saw her tell she was like just finished crying. And I said, wow, it must be some watch, yeah. But anyway, so she gave me an idea where the area was. And I kid you not, 2 swings, I got a blast, meaning it was a large object, a watch, and it was probably 3 or 4 inches. This is in the dry season. It was 3 to 4 inches, and I got a blast on my headphone, and I looked at her, and those other people around. I'm not kidding. It was like about 10 people around, curious people just hanging around. And I looked at her, and she looked at me, and her eyes lit up like, and I kind of like nod. I reached down. Boom.
And there it was.
There it was. And when I looked at it, I almost fell. It was a Rolex.
Oh dear. Yeah.
But the thing is, it was just a stainless steel Rolex from the 1930s. As we all know, Rolex are very expensive. They are timepiece, last forever. Mm-hmm. And this particular, I looked at the number, and when I got home, I Googled it. It's a collector's item. It's worth $3,000.
Wow.
But that was it wasn't for her. It was the fact that it was passed down.
Yeah, passed down from her family.
Yeah, and oh my goodness, when I tell you, she squeezed me, I was like, oh Lord. Yeah. I had to close my eye. I didn't want my eyes to pop out. Yeah. And she was so happy. And so that particular find was and people were clapping.
Yeah.
It's like something
I can just imagine the emotion of it. And I'm sure she had looked for it and maybe ended up burying it deeper. Yeah. I mean, was 4 inches kind of, for something that was just lost, was that like a little deeper than you thought it might be, or because of the weight of it?
Well, exactly. There you go. The heavier the material, the object falls in, the deeper it goes. This particular one was about 3-4 inches. You lose coins will fall about an inch or two. It's funny. I've been doing this so long. Coins, I could actually tell without even digging. There's a coin there. It's because it's like the footprint. Understand?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. A coin leaves a little circular, little indent. You're like, it's unique. And so a lot of times as I'm metal detecting, even before I get to it with a search for it, going over it, I reach down, it's a coin.
And
You know, yeah. The same thing with gold rings, platinum rings, silver rings. They all leave some type of trail. But remember, by that time somebody lost, if you're throwing the football and the ring fell off, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
Because it just sinks right in. It's not going to fall right in front of you. You know, it's going to fall several feet away from you.
Away
so,
from you.
Yeah.
What
so,
can you what's one of the oldest things that you have found, or that someone in one of your forums has found?
Well, for me personally, my style of recovering target is in the water, and what I'm looking for is old targets, old finds, people that was lost 50, 100, even up to 150 years ago. Okay, and a lot has to do with Mother Nature. Okay, I'm gonna get to that with the science of it, but my oldest one was probably from the 1870s. It was a signet ring, and I brought it to 2 different gemologist, and they looked at it and said, wow, this is really old. In fact, it was from Europe. That's another thing. The Europeans back in the late 19th century, early 20th century, they loved the States. They just bombarded this country. And on the beaches, remember, the only thing on the beach was a beach. There was no homes there. There was no mall. There was no cars. Theater, mall you go to, people congregated on the beach on a sunny day. And so that was my oldest. I found a lot of signet rings, which you'll see on the video. You'll see signet ring with those fancy writing on it. Sometimes I can't even make out what the initials are. And these are initials, but it's such an elaborate looking thing. And something like, what is this? But these are very old rings. Found a lot of beginning of the 20th century. And you get to the point where, for me and for some of my friends, you get to the point where you actually have an idea, you know, how old is this ring? And so a lot of my finds are old stuff. And that's what I excel in. And so during the summertime, like I said earlier, my wife Audrey, she loves metal detecting the dry sand. And so during the summertime, I tell all my friends, don't call me, don't bother me, because this is my quality time with my wife. She wants to do the Saturday morning, Sunday morning beach hunts. And we're there at 6, 7 in the morning, you know, and and that's what we've been doing for years. And so, but yeah, so that's, I mean, yes, there's a lot of recovery that I have done over the years, and unfortunately, a lot of it, it can't be returned. So it goes into my collection.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. Another thing that you've talked about that I think is kind of interesting. There's some do's and don'ts of metal detecting, right? In terms of you can't just go out there and, you know, among each other and what kind of property you're on. And
there's a lot of, there's restrictions. I mean, there's a lot of restriction that you have to adhere by. I always tell people who just starting, if you're going to go to your local park on the green or something, especially on the green, a lot of, New England goes back to the colonial days. And if you go to a small town like here, I live in West Haven, we have we have a cemetery. That's cemeteries were next to the churches. You see that. And so, you have to go into the town hall and find out from the Parks and Rec, listen, are there any restriction metal detectors? They said, no, they fine. But with that, like I said before, you have to understand how to cut a plug, put it back, leave it the way you found it, more or less. So those are some of the do's right there. State parks, most state parks, I'm only going to speak for Connecticut, most state parks, they do not allow you to metal detect grass. In the water, it's fine. As long as there's no lifeguard. Once the lifeguard comes down, you have to leave. And they can come back when they're gone. State properties, these wooded areas, if it says state property on it, don't bother. You don't want to get arrested, confiscate your equipment. You just don't want to put yourself in a situation. Certainly, you don't want to make the local paper.
Right.
Because for me, I take it personally that, we are the ambassadors. And so we have to leave behind something good out of it. Right. People, when they see us, because I have to tell you, when you're metal detecting, a lot of eyes are behind you. And so,
yeah, because it's really obvious what you're doing. I mean, there's kind of no way to, you're there with the equipment and they know what's going on.
Yeah. I have kids come up to me on the beach while I'm detecting. I'm like, kid, I'm trying to retrieve this target. I'm saying this to myself. But at the same time, you put on the smile, say, hello, stuff like that. And I'll throw a quarter on the sand, and I'll give I look at the parent. I say, "Is it okay?" Is it, yeah, sure. And I mean the excitement in their eyes, And so, but yeah, so there's and the don'ts. Oh boy, the don'ts. Cemeteries. Oh no. Cemeteries, that's being disrespectful, okay, not only to the dead, but to their families. Back in the colonial days, we know this, but they used to put coins on their stones, the grave.
Put coins on the gravestones, to mark that they were there to visit?
Yes, they'll put it on top of the stone, or they'll put it right on from the front of the stone, the dirt. And so there is probably thousands of different coins there that collectors would love to get, but it's a no-no. Yeah. And we had an incident on one of the forums. Somebody did that. Have mercy on that guy.
They talked about something that they found in a cemetery.
Yes, and boy, he got beat up really bad on the forums.
Yeah.
And so, things like that. When you dig a hole, maybe on the sand or on the grass, try to leave it the way you found it. There's certain techniques where somebody who wants to start metal detecting will learn from it right away. To cut the grass, cut it like a U shape, fold it back, put a towel, put the dirt on top of the towel. When you retrieve your target, dump the dirt with the towel back in, put the plug back in, over, pat it down. And the reason why we do a U shape is because we want that linkage of the root to continue. Although the part that got cut, the roots of the grass will connect eventually. Okay. And so, little things like that, but those are important things that, again, everybody's an ambassador when it comes to metal detecting. You want to leave a lasting taste in everybody's mouth. Yep. And you try to help everybody you can,
Yeah, be a good name. Yeah.
And that's that's what we try to do. Yeah. I have a video I'd like to show.
Sure.
Want to get into the video?
Yep.
Okay. So the first video I'm gonna show a video of some of my past finds Let me get to that. Where are we? Okay. So, yes. Okay. So it'll be about 5 minutes. About 5 minutes. And just to give you an idea of what is found out there, most finds are from the water, and you'll see some old finds. You'll be able to recognize old finds. Some with some in the dry sand, wet sand, sort of. So let me just go ahead and play. You can see that, right?
Yep. That's great. And I like your, I mean, your finds are impressive, but also your video skills are impressive too. That's a nice clip. And some of that stuff looks really, really attractive. And just it's amazing the sheer number of things that you found. I know I want to give people a chance to ask you questions.
Can I would like to show another video from I started up a Facebook group. Um, we call ourselves the Connecticut Beach and Water Hunters. And so I have a video of, it's like a 2-minute video of the 2017 year review finds.
Okay.
So if that's okay, I would like to show that. Okay, that's the here.
Is that the one? Is that the? Yeah. So if you maybe stop that screen share and pull up your new one.
Yeah, it's on.
Are you another tab?
Well, it's on that tab.
Okay.
I opened up the screen. How do I close that screen? Here we go. Oh, thank you.
Yeah, right.
Okay. So let me get out of that. Okay.
And this is from everybody in the forum. It's like a collection of.
Yeah, they belong to my club. I created this club. I'm the administrator, and you know, give them something back, show them what they found that year. This was done 2018.
Okay. And some of the stuff too that we're seeing, obviously, you know, it's in different conditions. So we're seeing kind of things when they've first been found, but then some of the rings that you have, I'm sure you have cleaned them up and.
Oh yeah. I mean, yeah. We try to. Yeah. I mean, that's sometimes you just do it as a. They find toys on the beach. You can imagine what they find. Sorry for some of the back quality photos. See, the salt water does some damages to the silver, even on the coins over the years.
beach bums.
Yeah.
That's a lot. It's a lot of work, and it takes a lot of time.
Yeah, I put in about 3 or 4 hours using a GoPro. I put it on my head, so try to give the viewers what I'm seeing.
Mm-hmm.
And so those 3 or 4 hours of videos, and I try to keep it in real time, so that way, because I have to edit everything. Listen, I'm not a great editor, obviously. So, but I have to chop it down to 3, 4, 5 minutes. And so when you see me looking hunting, you'll see me swinging towards the target. That's where I continue, because it'll be boring to just let it run for 2 hours.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
just like yeah.
Does that I know we're getting close toward the end, but so I wanted to see if anyone wanted to just unmute themselves. If you have any questions for Joe, you can, or put a question in the chat box.
Hey Mary,
Yeah.
before we do that, there was one particular oh no, actually, you know what? We'll say that to the end. That last picture, I want to talk about all that gold.
All the gold.
Yeah, I'll bring that up during that time.
Okay.
Okay, but I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, that's okay, because I know that's quite a picture. That's a great picture to kind of end with. It's very,
Yeah.
very vivid.
Are we going to talk about the science and all that, Betty?
Yeah, I was going to ask you that question.
Okay.
But first, I wanted to just open it to the audience and see if anyone has anything.
Okay.
I have a quick question, Joe. And you've been talking about these forums, and the forums that when you first started, obviously were, like you said before, like social media, Facebook and stuff like that. I know for myself, I belong to a couple forums that were like through Yahoo or things like that. So have most of them changed over to Facebook, or does that forum that you originally were in, does that still exist? And can people join these forums?
Oh yeah, absolutely. In fact, there are many metal detecting forums, just like in tennis forums, golf forums. There's so many different types of forums that you could sign up today. People still participate. In fact, one of my go-to forum is called the Friendly Metal Detecting Forum. They have over 100,000 members. And this was, and of course, they're not all on at once. But like I said before, most forums have self-forum within that forum. Have you seen that, Nancy?
Yes.
Yes. So
we do have one person who has asked, how long have you been searching? And then that question, and then that's from a patron, a person, Bill is asking how long we've been searching. And my other question is, if someone's just starting out, is there a particular forum that you would recommend?
Yes, like I said, other than social media, you have Facebook, have hundreds of thousands of groups that they could sign up to, along with Instagram, TikTok. I don't know. TikTok, to me, it's almost like something newer that came out. I don't know, but I suggest metal detecting forums. They're out there. Just punch up, just on Google search engine, just punch up metal detecting forums, and I guarantee you one of the top 3 will be the one I'm recommending. It's called Friendly's Metal Detecting Forums, because within that forum, and the people are friendly. There are strict rules in there. No politics, no religion. And you want to do that, you got other social media to do that stuff. Like I said, you have self-forum inside that forum, and it covers so much different. Dirt digging, relic hunting. They even have open forums where people talk about metal detecting in general. But you could actually start a thread. This is called a thread. You could start a thread asking certain questions, and people will be more than happy to answer what it is that you're looking to find out about. Yeah.
So that's a good start. I put it in the chat, and Bill did ask, how long have you been searching?
Well, like I said, I started about 20 years ago, about this time of year, and the first two years dirt digging, and once I got into the beach hunting, I didn't look back. In fact, I could tell you, 95% of my metal detecting is water beach related. I have so many friends who specialize in dirt digging. That 5% I will go once or twice a year with them. And I mean, I know how to dirt dig. I mean, that's something that's already learned. But my specialty is water hunting, looking for old, lost, precious metal. That's what I'm looking for. I don't care about a piece of metal. I'm looking, that's what I do. I look for gold and silver, for more gold. That's where the value is for me.
Anyone else? The quick question that I have is something that you mentioned to me that I think is so interesting, and I wonder if everyone does this. And I called it your kind of your science behind the metal detecting, and
Yes.
the thing that you do in terms of looking at the effects of, you know, wind and Mother Nature and storms,
Yes.
and how the shoreline changes, but you really use that
To my advantage.
to your advantage.
Yes. Over the years, again, I was a greenhorn years back, and you know, I'm only as good as the time I put in, and you know, I'm not a professional treasure hunter by no means. I'm not getting paid for it. You know, I'm doing it for the love of the hobby. As we all say in metal detecting, is the thrill of the hunt.
Yeah.
It's like, what are we going to find? My goodness, what is that signal? And so forth. People use the word, there must be a science behind what you guys do. When they say what we guys do, it's not the general population who does metal detecting. It's those who takes it a step further. And we call that stepping out of the box. And so I'm gonna give you an example. Somebody who wants to go metal detecting, they'll pull up in front of the beach. You got the swings there. People get out the parking lot and they congregate that whole area. You got the hot dog stand there, the swings and all that. So people do congregate there. And unfortunately, these people, for whatever reason, they bring precious metal with them, they lose it. And you hope you can return it if you can. So, and that's fine. I do that with archery during the summertime. I particularly don't do that in the wintertime, because in the wintertime, you might only see my head thinking I'm a harbor seal. In fact, I had people several years back thought I was a harbor seal, and they kept looking at me from distance. I'm wondering, why are these people looking at me? They're just standing there. So I got out the water, and they were laughing. And they actually said, "We thought you were a harbor seal."
A seal.
Because their heads stick out. If you like before harbor, you see them during the winter time. You see the head stick out, they're looking around, and that's what they thought it was. I was so far out.
Wow.
So, but someone who to come up and park in front of the beach, and they know people. This is like summertime. They know people congregated. They're out there, you know, like a fisherman. Early bird gets the worm, right? They're out there in the morning, doing what they're doing. Me, I will go out there. I might go to my left. I might go to my right. Walk a half a mile. And the reason why I'm doing that is because I'm looking for older targets. Nothing so much that was lost recently. Something that was lost a long time ago. And so this is when you start thinking out of the box. And I will do that. I will do that particular day because I knew a day or two before that we had a nor'easter. blow across the region. And what that does, the sand gets moved. The sand, as we speak right now, is constantly moving. It could be shifting back and forth. You know, that same spot that was 2 feet deep, it could be only a foot and a half. And so it might be more sand. And so we can never figure out Mother Nature, but we do have a good understanding when certain direction of the wind blows, what it does to certain beaches, depending what the beach. I'm gonna give you an example, the easiest one, Seaside Park. If you're on Seaside Park, you're facing the water, you're looking at Long Island Sound. That is east. You're looking at the east direction. And behind you is west, right? You're going to the west, you're going to the suburbs, you're going up the state of New York, whatever. And so if there's a nor'easter that passed through, I know the direction of the water is going to somewhat of a slant. So all that sand that was here piled up in deep water is getting shifted. And that's important for me and for a lot of guys that I hunt with, is because when that sand shifts, it has to go somewhere. And when that sand shift is exposing an area that was covered with a foot or two of sand. And so when in the past I walked searching the area, I was about a foot or two above that spot that is now a foot or two lower. So now that's giving me a chance to retrieve old target that was buried. So that spot could have been 3-4 feet deep where I couldn't, the target's down so deep, I couldn't, my machine just like, but Mother Nature helped me by shifting that sand. When I walk on the beach and the sand is soft, that's not good for me, especially when I'm finding pull tabs 12, 15 inches deep.
Wow.
That's telling me the deep, because gold is heavy. So gold is going to sink down further.
Even further than the pull tab.
Right. So
Yeah.
so I won't waste my time. When you get a wind at low tide blowing from the west, say again, I'm using Seaside Park example. The wind is blowing the water out. So if you're out there at low tide, the average low tide, the wind that's blowing 20, 30 miles an hour is pushing that water. It's like it's gravity. It's pushing the water even further out. Now I'm able to go out further than I have before. And so we call that condition blowout. And so now I'm able to get into further area that hasn't been hunted before. And you'd be surprised what I find. Not all the time, but you have to put your time in to do that. Sometimes, and a lot of my friends will just ride around the shoreline, take pictures of the beach at low tide, normal low tide. We'll take a picture and save it on our phone. And when we get these type of conditions, winds blowing, whatever, we'll go to that beach and compare notes. Does it look the same as it was before? Is there more rocks showing now than it did before? That tells me more sand got moved. Now there's rocks there. The target, precious metal, can only go so far down until it gets stocked with gravel, shells, or big rocks. And when those rocks are exposed, we call it easy picking. A lot of times there's like, sometimes you see it, sometimes you have to move a rock or two to get to it. And so we're using Mother Nature towards our advantage, understanding the landscape of the beach. And if you have been to certain beaches, you know what the landscape looks like. You know, without me going back to a photo that I took maybe a year ago, I could tell the landscape shifted. And I know where to put myself in the best spot to increase my finds than the next person. And so this is thinking out of the box.
Yep.
And so, you know, us hardcore, you want to call us that, that's our way of thinking to give us an advantage.
Yeah. So it kind of comes full circle. I mean, kind of like there's definite benefit to knowing your landscape and where you're hunting,
Yes.
as well as knowing your machine. You know,
Yes.
you got to
Right.
bring all those pieces together.
And talking about your collection, Diana does have a question about saying that you do have a very large valuable gold collection, and she wants to know, is it stored in a bank safety deposit box? And it's a very impressive collection.
Some are in a box at people's bank. I added it for years. Those are my how you say my part of my retirement, if I could say that. I have cases of ring cases that I like to put away on display on the wall. There's times where I actually sold some. I could give you an example, a down payment on a car. I mean, that was free money. I mean, I should watch what I'm saying, RRS there, but yeah.
Well, you put the time in. I mean, you did put the time in, and hours and hours to get. I mean, it's not like you go out and you find one of those every day. Right.
Most guys that I know who are water hunters, and we're a different breed than, say, a beach hunter because of dry suit. We're a complete different breed. I know guys who have dry suits or are out there to the neck, 40 degree, 35 degree water temperature. And they could do that because they're insulated. And so I don't have a dry suit. I have a waders and I have wetsuits for the summer. But we're a different breed. We have to think out of the box. We have to try to stay a step ahead. And I have to tell you, it's very competitive. When I started, I knew I only have to go to the beach on the weekend. I could just go on the Monday morning. You know, it's like a candy store, picking all the candy all I want, because I know nobody was there. Now it's very competitive. 11 years ago, I think I saw somewhere in the USA, one of the fastest growing pastime in America is metal detector. Especially for whatever reason, people actually thought when we went through that recession, it was pretty bad. People lost their homes, jobs. People actually went out and bought metal detectors thinking they could make a living out of it. And no, you can't. You can't do that.
Right.
And so, but in the classify ad in these forums, there were thousands of metal detectors people were selling because
after they bought them.
Yeah. Yes, they're making this. But so we have to think out of the box. We have to think of half a step to the next person. If I make a find tonight, I got my back turned. I don't know who's behind me with the binoculars or taking pictures will recognize me. So I'm not going to post my find the following day. I'll wait 2 months. I'm not in a rush. I'm not in this for the glory. I started my YouTube channel in 2010. The last video was 2015, which I'm going to show at the end to go away. I made like 60 videos over time using GoPros, stuff like that. It's very competitive. It's like a fisherman who has his honey hole. He doesn't want to give that spot. That little dip in that river that he always catch fish. You know, he doesn't want to get it away unless he's the surf friends or whatever. Well, we are the same too. We don't want the next person to come and hunt the next day where we were fine, knowing that there's more stuff out there. Yeah. And so you try to be.
You have to be very diplomatic because you want to share your finds, but not necessarily ask specifics about where it was.
Yeah. And unfortunately, just like any other hobby, sometimes there's some sour grapes in there, you know, and me, I don't care. You could bring your whole family there. I don't care because I know I'm going to still be a step ahead of you because I know exactly what I'm looking for. I know what the soft sand, hard sand feels like. The hard sand, that's when my hair in the back of my neck stands up because I know I'm in some hot spots.
Counts and
And
stuff.
so, yeah.
Yep.
So,
Okay, well, yep, that's great. We do have another question. When it comes time to cash it in, where do you go?
oh, it depends. My first several years, I went to the local jewelry store, pawn shops, you know, melt value. And so they give you, hard lessons, but they'll give you like 30-40% off of the value of the gold market at that particular time. So at being on the forum, you learn that, hey, you could go straight to the source, the refinery, who deals with precious metal. They melt down precious metal. They're all over the country. And so that's what I did. But certain rings, and you saw in the videos, signet rings, they're collector items. Sometimes if something melt value is worth $200, I might get $300-400 for it if I sell it as is. Again, I'm not looking to sell. I like to hold on to my stuff. That's like my trophy. There's people come to the house, they can see my, my proudly displayed finds, because I put a lot of work into it. And I like history. Part of thinking out of the box is doing research. And a lot of, remember, 150 years ago, there was nothing on the shoreline. People congregated. There's no mall, there's no cars. You go on a weekend or whatever to cool off on the beach, and people just congregated. I know probably 10 beaches with half of Connecticut shoreline by name that doesn't exist anymore, because there's private home mansions in front of there, and you can't go there unless you're below the high tide line. The high tide line in Connecticut, I want to speak Connecticut, the high tide line towards the property is private property. If you go to Penfield Beach, you see private property sign. You start walking in front of these homes, and that's really is from the high tide line. Low tide, people walk through there because it's public. Okay, and so that's and so I like keeping my finds, but I do sell them when I need it before I touch my own money, I guess you could say. And so
Again, it's like all there's more research. It's every aspect.
There's a lot of
has research to it.
There's a lot of research going on. In fact, if you don't mind, I have that picture of a friend of mine, and it's just gonna blow you away.
Yeah.
This guy is I mean, he's like, again, he's like my mentor.
Yeah.
He's from the Mid-Atlantic. His name is Joe. He came down with us twice in the past 8 years to hunt with us. And I really look up to this guy. I learned so much from him. And so I want to show you something that
it's an impressive picture.
Is pretty darn impressive. Yeah, to me. And so let me just go to here. Okay, you see that?
Yeah.
Okay. Now you see a lot of high school rings. You see a lot of old rings. These are old rings. High school rings. Some are just signet rings. Here's a signet ring right here. Another one here. Everything you see here is old. The high school rings you see here is one is probably 1961. The rest is old. Now the story with this, and I talked to Joe yesterday. We had a chat behind the scene, and I wanted to get his permission for me to show this picture, because it's fascinating about thinking out of the box and some of the stuff I learned from him. This particular find took place this summer from June through first week of September.
So all of this in that short time?
Yes. Along with other old coins, old relics he found in the water, silver coins, but he's just displaying the gold finds that he found. This particular place that he went, I know more or less where he's at, but it's like I said before, it's a hush hush. You don't want to give it away.
Right.
Nobody hunts this beach. This beach was there from the 1880s all the way to, I think, just before 1960. And since then, they've built a lot of homes, mansions out there. It's hard to get to. So he has a boat, and that's how he gets to this place. At low tide, he goes out there, and this is what he found in that short amount of time. And there's thousands more to go.
Wow.
Thousands. This place was a really hot, popular, you can imagine. The old timers told me a long time ago, said, Joe, for every 1,000 person on the beach, one of them is going to lose precious metal.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that's what
there's
they're
the
telling
evidence
me.
right there. Yeah.
And so you're looking at like 80 years, 70 years of built up, but the people just lost.
Yeah.
And so I'm sure he was trying to look at some of these rings. And believe it or not, some of these rings probably have initial. If they do, he would try to return them. But the rest of this stuff is just, it's just incredible.
And these were in the water, right? They were the
Yes.
water from low tide, where he was accessing this from a boat. You said, right?
Well, he got to that area by boat.
Yeah.
And it was low tide, and he goes way out as far as he could go.
Mm-hmm.
And he uses a dry suit, so he's up to his neck with this stuff.
Wow.
And so he puts in 3-4 hours. And so when he posted the first post this last week, I almost fell off my chair. I said,
Yeah.
This guy every year on average, I'm like, he's retired. He's up there in age, but very healthy, able to still do this. And God bless him.
Yeah.
But he averaged, I kid you not, over 100. This is just gold ring. Over 100 gold rings
That's
a year.
amazing.
And he saves them. He saves them.
Mm-hmm.
I said, you can't take it with you when you're gone. What are you going to do with it? He didn't say.
Well,
Anyway, I just wanted.
Yeah, that's a great photo.
Yeah, I just wanted to show this.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I think I want to thank you so much. I know you have a video that you want to show for the end, but I just want to thank you for your time and your stories and relating about this over the years. I think it's really a fascinating thing, and I have a lot of respect for how you approach it. You approach it with respect, so I have a lot of respect for you
Yes.
in this. So yeah, thank you so much, and thank you to everybody for joining us tonight. We did record this, so it'll be up on our YouTube channel eventually. Usually takes a day or more.
Yeah.
So thank you so much.
And before everybody leaves, we're going to leave here, but I'm going to leave a video that I made in 2015, summer of 2015. It was a fun summer, and so that was actually my last video. These last several years, I haven't hunted as much as I would have liked to, but I will be back out there making noise again towards my friends who I cringe when they find these gold rings. And so, but I'm happy for them. Anyway, I'm going to retrieve it. I want to thank everybody. And if anything, I think for me, most importantly, if you are looking to get into metal detecting, you don't have to be a nut like myself. Take it be several steps beyond. It's a great hobby. Is something you can get away, you can do with your family on weekend, weekdays, whatever. And it's great exercise. I'm very fortunate that I have my wife, Audrey, join me during the summertime. I'm not big on dry sand, but I do it because of her. And as long as she's happy, I'm happy, and it's quality time that, you just, you can't put a price tag on. And so if anything, like I said earlier, metal detecting is a Very simple machine. It does what it is. It detects metal, metallic, precious metal. And once you buy it, you'll get a quick understanding how to operate it, and just go out there and have fun. And you know, that's what it's all about, just having fun.
Yeah.
So,
And enjoying it in good health.
yes.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go ahead and leave everybody with this fun video. I kind of start. Listen, I'm not a professional, but I like playing with the filters. And anyway, but this is my last video, and next year I will go right back to what I was doing. Anyway, goodbye. Thanks to everybody for joining us.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Joey. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Hey, Mary, are we still on?
Still here watching.
Okay. Just want to let everybody know, YouTube have millions of videos for beginners. Any particular machine that they buy, they'll probably find somebody that actually have hundreds of videos to show them step by step. I just want to throw that in.
Yeah, that's a good. I know YouTube is great for that.
Yes,
you know,
yes.
Instructional things.
Oh, if they want to follow me, they just look up P.I. Joe Feet. Did you hear that?
No, you broke up a little bit. What was that again?
Okay. If they could look me up on YouTube.
YouTube?
Yeah, just look up P.I. Joe.
Yeah, that last part we're losing, but we'll,
Okay, P.I. Joe
CC?
CT for Connecticut.
Oh, CT, okay.
CT, right.
CT, gotcha.
Right. That'll take you to my my YouTube channel.
Okay.
They can watch a lot of videos on it.
Oh, and I meant to ask you, that's a scale, right, that item was on?
Yeah, I tend to use and see how much gold is in it.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is 6.6 grams. That's that. You see the color? It's 18 karat. The higher the carat, the more color it has.
There he is.
I had to do it.
How exploit?
Oh, no, they got the IRS in here. We don't need that. We don't want the IRS finding out about this, Joe. We gotta turn
No,
that
of
one
course
off.
All right.
All right, great. Thank you so much.
Let's see.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great night.
Bye-bye.
We'll see you soon. Thanks so much for joining us. Bye-bye.